Welcome to the Yap Corner, a podcast for dog parents by dog parents.
We're your hosts, Madison, Bennett, and Jess, Ramberg, two dog-obsessed humans who know that life is just better with a pup. I'm Madison, and I'm obsessed with pickles.
I'm Jess, currently on the hunt for a new book series and trying to get better at surfing. So this isn't your typical podcast. We're not here to talk about food debates or training manuals.
Just real-life talk about the everyday chaos and joy of life with pups.
So grab your pup, your beverage of choice, and let's yap about it all. We're going to kick off with some pup dates. For us, we had a lengthy travel, just a whole bunch of schedules. We were in Orlando. We flew to Orlando, then flew to Chicago, drove to Indianapolis, drove to Knoxville, and then back home. And of course, Ziggy was along for the ride. I had like a circuit of work trips, and Ziggy is just so adaptable that she just kind of hangs and comes with. Everywhere I go, people don't believe. I'm like, oh, where's Ziggy? And I think they joke, thinking like, where's the dog? And I'm like, oh, like, she's here, up in the room. And they're like, wait, she's here? And I was like, yeah, you want to see her? Because I have the camera hooked up if like she's up in the room or something. And yeah, here she is, like just sleeping on the bed.
People are like, where's Ziggy? I'm like, thinking that you're going to be like, nah, she's back home. That's hilarious.
Yeah, so she gets lots of pets on the road.
I'm sure. And ice cream. I saw you got some ice cream.
Yep, we got some like a pup cup. Oh, yes, you know that word.
Is that our favorite word?
It was a ice cream shop next to our hotel in Knoxville, and they had little pup cups. It was like a little cone with little whipped cream on top of it. So it was.
Oh, that's fun.
It was cute.
That's cute. Yeah, for us, we did our first agility competition.
Oh my goodness!
I know, it's been a work in progress with Gemini, of course, and she actually got 2 qualifying runs. So she did jumps and standards, and for those that are not aware what that means, like the jumps is just more of those hurdles. So they do a course with hurdles, and then the standard is with contact, so any like dog walks, A-frames, those things. And she did really well. She had a hurt paw. I think she had like a hot spot on her paw, so that slowed her down a little bit, and otherwise we would have probably got all 4 qualifying, but it's okay. We're signed up for another one already and looking forward to that. So
I bet the competition space is totally different. We're gonna have to for sure dive into dog sports and that whole world with you.
Yeah, it's really fun. And I'm always learning. Like when I was there, it was funny. All of us like we're novice, so we're like all new to it. And we're just like looking at each other for advice. We're like, do you know what that means? Like how much time do we have to like finish it? And the trainer's like, she's been doing this for like 20 years or so, and she's probably doesn't even realize that we don't even know some of the basics. So it was fun.
Ziggy, you were just panting over there. The dogs were running around, and Ziggy's in her fit girl, or trying to be in her fit girl era. So she's
working on her summer bod.
Her endurance is we're getting up there.
So today we're going to dive into something that all parents, dog parents, think about, which is the chores of the dog. It's not something you typically even realize kind of what you're getting yourself into if it's your first time dog and all the things that come with that. So we're going to cover some of those today.
Which I think is great because, as you mentioned, I think they're things that you pick up along the way, that you learn, you have conversations with others, you experience differently from other people, of just all those everyday or those kind of timeline, puppy, adult, senior phase of life as a dog parent.
And that changes, like you said, as they age. So, and with different dogs too. It's not always the same.
Never. Puppy phase, let's start with that. I mean, right off the bat, you are going to the vet. And if I can remember correctly, the timeline of all the vaccines and the checkups, like it's pretty frequent right when you get a pup, especially if you get them at that like 8 weeks?
I think it's 8 weeks.
And we got Ziggy right at that 8-week mark. And I remember immediately we went to the vet, and they were like, okay, we have a follow-up, and the follow-up, another follow-up, and you're coming back until they're like 4 months, until they're fully vaccinated and cleared. But it's a pretty strict schedule with your vet to get the puppy shots and all that stuff started.
Yeah, all the vaccines. And then you can't really take the dog out or socialize them with, which we'll get into, with other dogs during that time. So we actually got Apollo when he was 4 months already. So that's why I was able to fly with him. But I didn't really have to experience that part of staying on track with the vaccines and being like on it, which is probably a good thing because I'm bad with my own vaccines, let's be real. But with Gemini, when I got her, I was like, she came from a vet tech actually. And so she was like very, came to me like, come to me if you need these shots. But I found a vet.
That's nice. It's funny that you say about like, I'm not even good with my own vaccines. Like I have a packet of Ziggy stuff. And if you were to tell me, when was the last time she got her rabies shot? When was the last time she got XYZ? I'm opening that packet. I have all the information there. But the last time you say, Jess, when's the last time you got, checkup for XYZ? And I'm like, I have no idea.
Literally.
I'm going to ballpark like maybe 2-3 years ago. But with the dog, yeah. I have the packet nicely put together with all the dates and expirations of all those checkups.
I have it like highlighted in my phone. I think I have a whole folder of files in my phone of Apollo and Gemini. And it's like every vaccine certificate, every vaccine, like doctor note or whatever. And yeah, for myself, I'm like, oh yeah, who is my doctor?
Yes. Yeah. Who's your primary care physician? Yeah. I say, I have no idea.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Ziggy's vet, I can tell you.
Yeah.
What's their phone number? I'll tell you that too.
I can tell you what kind of dog she has. Yeah. I can tell you all of that.
All that stuff.
It's so funny. But yeah, with a puppy too, I think obviously one of the big things that we learned right at the beginning was crate training.
Yeah.
And we got Apollo and you got Ziggy during COVID. They were COVID pups. We were home a lot with them, and luckily, I think we talked to somebody or however we learned, but they were like, you better, start crate training because when COVID lifts, like you're going to have to go back to the office or you're going to have to leave your dog home. And so it was something that we were like, this is something we're going to do right away and learn. And I'm really grateful we did because now he's comfortable in a crate. Like I said, we just went to agility, and during agility, they have to even be in a crate. And if we hadn't done that with him, like who knows how he would react now.
We got really spoiled with Ziggy. The breeder, I believe, did have crates for them. And so the first night we brought her home, she cried a little bit, but then stopped. And we just like left her there. Like we're like, okay, I think we just like leave her there and like don't run, like, don't run and get the baby when it's crying immediately. And then the next night and onward, she never cried again. And now she will pop in any crate. Like even I stayed at a friend's house once and she has a crate for her dog and the door was kind of closed and Ziggy pushed her nose to open the door and go sleep in the crate. And they thought that was the funniest thing. They were like, my dog never goes just willingly into the crate. And I said, I think Ziggy really loves her space. Mm-hmm. She finds it comforting. Another chore as a puppy is the feeding schedule. I remember when we were sent home after the breeder, she said, okay, here's kind of the feeding schedule, follow this, especially when they're puppies. Mm-hmm. They need to be getting enough food or nutrients and everything. So I remember we would track, like, what time do we feed her? And, you're doing like 3 times a day. You're following the measurements. And then even like her potty times, we're tracking down like what time is she going potty, just to like figure out what the schedule is. Mm-hmm. But that was new, and obviously it's transitioned throughout her years of life too.
I have a really funny / embarrassing story about Potty that I just remembered. I couldn't get Gemini to go poop outside like to save my life, and I think our friends were staying at our house watching. And so then they watched her and they're like, we couldn't get her to go poop. So we learned that if you rub an ice cube on their butt, it'll like make them feel like they need to go to the bathroom. So they're out there like rubbing ice cubes on their butt. And I'm like, man, we have some good friends in our lives and are like trying so hard to get our dog to like go poop on a scheduled basis, as you mentioned, a schedule. Oh gosh.
I've never heard that one before.
Yeah, I didn't either. I'll tell you who it was after. I don't want to make them feel embarrassed. But
that's funny. Yeah. Did it work? Did they say she went?
They said it did.
Or is Gemini like why is my butt being rubbed with ice?
They're like, she's like, it's so cold. And I think it was like the colder months here too. So they're like outside with her, like cold, rubbing ice cubes on her butt.
That is funny.
They said it. She eventually went. So I don't know if it was the ice cube or she just needed to go.
What about, obviously puppies chewing, all that stuff? I remember with Ziggy, one of the chores that we were focused on was making sure she wasn't chewing things or you're removing things. You have to like puppy proof the house. Mm-hmm. So you're removing all the items and all the little trinkets and things that you have in the house that you weren't expecting when you get a dog that they get themselves into. Or even the sour apple spray.
I was about to say the bitter apple, sour apple.
Yes,
yeah.
Spraying that on all the corners of stuff.
I think you actually turned me onto that one when they were puppies. Like, I went over and I think she had, like, chewed up your wall or something.
Yes. Yeah. The first place we had, and it was like a condo building, and it was actually, I don't know, weeks before we were getting ready to do the open house and get it sold. And I came home and the hallway was just all chewed up on like the baseboards. Oh, I could not believe it. And so my husband he had already moved to the East Coast, and I'm like, I am not like a, like, I don't know. The
handyman. Like,
yes. I mean, I can
carpenter.
be.
There you go.
I can be very handy, but I don't know the ins and outs and all that stuff. So of course you find a YouTube video, went and got the materials. I'm using like putty and like the sandpaper and painting, making it look good. And I mean, hey, the place sold, so
hey, I'm gonna say
must be my my skills. That was definitely a chore for us to just make sure things weren't getting chewed up that shouldn't be chewed up. And you learn, like, even like these little ponytails.
Oh,
like keeping these off the ground or like off the side of your bed. Things I never thought of, but now changed my mind because she, ever since she was a puppy, loved chewing.
Yeah,
ponytails.
And they get those, and they think they like wrap on their intestines. Or
that's
something.
Scary.
Yeah. Well, I know because one of our cats ate one.
Oh, not the cats.
Yeah. And they threw it up, and I was like, oh.
We're just talking about dog chores. I'm sure there's a whole new set of cat chores.
Oh my gosh, that's a tiring story. Yeah, so I don't think I slept for like the first few months of having a puppy. So if anybody's out there looking to get a puppy or you haven't experienced life with a puppy, I'm not here to scare you or anything, but it's definitely something that you have to have time and dedication to. And that even plays into their adult years. Like, it doesn't stop.
It does not.
No.
The adult years, I feel like, are kind of like your maintenance years. All the stuff you were learning as like a new dog parent, it's just like new things that pop up, new activities, schedules, all these different parts of that phase.
I think for a big one for us is keeping our dogs socialized or hanging out with friends. I mean, literally, they're friends. Like, we say their names and they're like, I know who that is. Like, I want to go see them. And so it's finding time in our schedules to make time for that and keep them socialized or keep them hanging around dogs that they like to hang around with. Think, obviously not all dogs like all dogs.
Another kind of chore type thing, when Ziggy was a puppy, we did the puppy training courses. Mm-hmm. And then it was just like on yourself to stay consistent with that and consistent with, making sure you are just, ingrained in their schedules, their everyday routines, the everyday stuff that you do with them, that you're making sure you're on top of it and making sure they keep their fundamentals of all the puppy classes, the weeks of puppy classes that you did with them. So I feel like that's kind of like a hidden task chore that is throughout the entire life of your dog, no matter what. Starting from puppy, but it's ongoing.
It's ongoing. And there's still like new things I want to teach him too. But for Apollo, like, he still doesn't know the difference between sit and lay down. He's got them backwards, and it's something I'm like constantly having to think about as a chore. Like, when I'm giving him a treat for coming inside, I'm like, sit. He lays down. I'm like, no, sit. I'm like, wait, you're almost 6 years old, buddy. We also keep them going on walks and taking them on walks. Like, it sounds like a stupid easy chore. But when you're like busy throughout your work day, I'm like, oh my gosh, these dogs haven't been outside. Like, they're dogs. They need to be outside.
Especially if you have a backyard, which is still great. Like, I grew up with a big backyard, and we could let our dogs out, and they would roam and run around and have, like, plenty of space. Now we have, like, a smaller backyard, so it's not like when I let Ziggy out, she's getting the exercise that she needs. So that's a huge exercise is a huge chore and responsibility with the dog. Another chore space that we haven't talked about is grooming. And that means so much. And it means so much to every different dog. Every dog breed has their own different chore areas of the grooming. But our Ziggy's been pretty basic. Like, we bathe her, I do her nails, I brush her teeth, I trim her paws, I trim her booty. I tell her, I'm like, it's a spa day. And I do all of that, and I've done it ever since she was a puppy. But we have, like, special towels that we use for the bath time. And she knows, like, when I take them out, Ziggy's not a fan of bath time. He's sitting there, like, shaking, and I always feel bad, but I'm like, girl, it's time for the bath. So she knows when I take out these towels, she's like, dang, I know what's next.
My dogs always know it's bath time when I open the door to the guest bathroom and put them in the tub, and they just, like, stand there, freeze, looking at me. But they're spoiled. They get, like, a blueberry facial scrub when, like, I think you give that too, right?
Yes.
I know you guys have an easier time with giving Ziggy nail trims, but these two don't really love getting their nails trimmed.
Do you take the dogs places to get their nails done?
Whenever they go to the vet, I cut their nails, but they run a lot on the pavement outside, and that naturally kind of files them down. They're getting better with cutting them, though. I do have to cut them in between sometimes, so it's like a do it when I have to thing, but technically I'm supposed to probably do it more often.
What about teeth brushing? Brush their teeth?
Oh my gosh, they love getting their teeth brushed. I literally will be like, toothbrush. Let's see if they look at me. No. But I'll go grab their toothbrush, and they just, like, come over and they're, like, ready, and they, like, fight each other for who gets to go first, and they love the taste of it. It's like, I think we said in the last episode, it's like bacon flavored, whatever. I'm like, gross, but they love it.
We have, like, peanut butter, beef. My husband hates peanut butter, so if I pull out the peanut butter flavor toothpaste, I'll always, like, kind of do it to mess with him and brush Ziggy's teeth, and he's like, oh my gosh, your breath smells like peanut butter.
Yeah. But we take them to Cahoots, which is like I think it's not a grocery store, but a dog food store. And they have a vet tech? What is it called? Vet tech? Dental? Whatever.
Yeah, they have pop-ups every month where you can sign up.
Is it a vet tech or is it a dentist?
I'm not
for
sure.
A dog?
It must be a combination of all that.
Yeah. Somebody qualified to come in and give vaccines and everything and nail trims, which we'll do there too. But they do without, whatchamacallit, not euthanize.
No, anesthesia. Without putting them under, you can get your teeth cleaned.
Yeah, and they do a really good
job. Your teeth, but the dogs.
They do a really good job of getting the plaque off, though, because even we brush their teeth pretty regularly, but, you know, they get a lot of plaque buildup.
Another chore we have to think about is pet care. When we travel or are gone, you have to find and prepare and get ready and go through all the things, the checklist of items needed for your dog to be watched either by a sitter, a dog watching service, or a doggy daycare. I know both of us have had experiences doing all that stuff and learned along the way.
We actually still take them to daycare, especially if I have a really long day at work or I have to go into the office. I do drop them off at daycare just so they're not, like, Gemini's not locked in a crate all day or they're bored. Like, I just want them to at least get out and see other dogs or whatever it might be. It's not cheap, so I do it kind of as needed. But we'll go to Dogtopia, and what I really love about it, though, is they, one, do a temperament test to confirm that all the dogs there, you know, will get along with other dogs. But they also have cameras, so it's really distracting, though. So as much as I love it, when I drop them off there, I will sit with the app or whatever, the website open with the cameras and just like stare at it all day. I'm like, oh, they're now on the dog walk thing. Oh, now they're just sitting in the corner. Oh, now they're playing with a friend. And I'm like, I don't need to know this much information.
Another chore is pet insurance for those who have it, figuring out which one to go with, which one works best for you and your family, and then making sure you're gathering all the expenses receipts and getting those submitted in the portal. That is so much learning.
Yeah.
I know you've had a ton of experiences changing pet insurances and doing all the things that come with it.
Well, and you want to get like in one early, because then the older they get, the more it becomes a pre-existing condition, whatever they see at the vet, and then they don't cover that. So like I always tell people, like, even if you have the money, like if you have the capability, like just do it and get something rather than nothing, and just to protect you in case something life-changing happenings, or as they get older, things happen. So
you just never know.
You never know.
I have heard nightmare stories of people with pet insurance.
Yeah.
We've luckily have had a really good experience, and I've been an advocate for doing all that stuff. But it's not for everyone.
Yeah.
And, you make that decision for you and your dog.
Yeah, and the one thing for us is I totally, like, the last time we used it, I was like, this is not going to work. Like, they're not going to cover. I was, like, panicking. I'm like, what am I paying for? And then they ended up covering, like, all that they could. And I'm like, okay, it is worth it in the end. But there is that, like, unknown that makes you uneasy. So last thing is dog enrichment or dog activities. You got to keep them busy, like you said, maintenance. So,
and then once you find those activities, there's a whole list of items that you're, sticking to and making sure you're staying on top of and adding to your schedules.
Yeah, so much. There's so much that happens in their adulthood, and then you get kind of, onto their senior years, which we're still trying to figure out when that transition really happens. I know every time I go to the vet, I'm like, are they a senior yet? Like, when do I need to start thinking about this and realizing?
We have grown up with dogs our entire lives, so firsthand with my own dog, I haven't experienced the senior phase, but firsthand through my family dogs, I've seen how a whole new list of chores come into the picture. They almost start kind of reverting back to that puppy phase where you have to watch them. You're spending time and attention to their needs. They don't move that easily, and I remember my parents putting like a towel or a support blanket under the dog to help them up the stairs. They're going to the bathroom way more frequently, and you have to take them out. It's just all these new set of things that come into the picture with that senior phase.
Yeah, there's like a lot of medications that you have to manage. I mean, we talked about managing the puppy vaccines, and then the adulthood, like, preventative almost care, and then they get into, I've heard dogs, be on like more medicines than I've ever seen.
And
like,
they have, how people have the
pill boxes.
Yes, for their dogs.
Yeah.
Of all the things that they're taking, the vitamins, supplements, joint pain, and then let alone dogs who have injuries, like chronic illnesses, cancer, just old age.
Yeah.
They probably have a whole, or not even probably, I know they have a whole set of things that you're working through and having to do every day.
And then talk about figuring out your routine. Like, you probably can't transport them so easily on a plane or on leaving them at a sitter or something, because I even know, I was a rover sitter for a bit, and one of the things you could check off was like, honestly, charging more to give medications or to give things to the dogs, and you don't want just like anybody taking care of your senior dog that needs medication to like sustain. So a whole nother thing to think about, like, and just be on top of with a routine. And then there's the dietary adjustments. You got to change their food again all of a sudden. Like I said, every time I go to the vet, I'm like, are they senior yet? Because you've seen at the stores, like, it's like senior formula where they had puppy formula, now senior, or they need like wet food or whatever it might be.
Right, they start losing teeth and they can't eat their food, which reminds me, like, even another just, chore that's different. Everyone has different things that their dog, deals with. I had an old coworker that their dog had a special, I don't know, disease or something where it couldn't eat normally. So they had this special chair where the dog sat in, like almost sat up and ate its food like sitting up. So that like something with the esophagus or something like that. So I think that just shows like whatever the dog is dealing with, sickness, illness, disease, it's going to come with a list of chores that are very different from your own.
Yeah, my dog that I grew up with went like blind and deaf, and you couldn't like just call their name anymore and be like, come, or you had to like carry them outside, put them where they needed to go potty, and then like hand feed them. And I mean, it's a whole like thing. And I give it up to all those people that like rescue senior dogs and take care of them to the end of life, give them the best life possible. Like, those are angels, like, really. And I mean, I one day hope to be like that person that can do that, but with our work schedules, with our life schedules, like, we'll obviously do that for our dogs, but doing that, expecting like that's, something that also affects you emotionally. Like, we cry all the time thinking about our, I'm not going to say
aging
it.
dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely reminds you everything that goes into it, the time demands, the chore list, and that's why it's great to give back and support the charities and the rescue organizations, because they put in a lot of time and effort to do that.
And there's some that like provide support to those, or like wheelchairs for dogs that can't use their legs or anything. So I'm always supportive of those organizations that, just want to give these guys a great life. So whether you've got a, puppy or a gray-faced, floof, silver face, whatever they call it, like, there's endless chores, but of course unlimited love.
We do it because we love them, and we wouldn't do it any other way.
Well, let's play a game.
Love it.
Well,
what do you got?
We love a hot take. So we're going to go through some dog labor, dog chore activities, and if you agree with them, you can, say you agree, or you're guilty of it, or you could say you disagree, or you're just guilty and stand by it. So
I love it. So we can kind of just go down our list back and forth here.
Yeah. And I'm curious what our listeners will think too. So maybe we put some of these in our stories later to see how people feel.
Yeah.
But these are our feelings, so.
Right. So yeah, let's make that clear that these are our opinions. These are our hot takes. Everyone's got a different take on it, which makes life fun.
People might be pissed at me on some of these responses.
I know. And we're going to be as honest as we can be here. Okay, I'll kick us off. If you don't rinse your dog's water bowl daily, it's basically a petri dish.
Disagree.
Yeah, I'm...
Or guilty and stand by it. I don't know.
I know. I probably should clean the bowl a lot more than I do. Even like the food bowl. That's probably more disgusting than the water bowl.
I clean the water bowl a lot because they run out of water, and I'm like, oh, I got to refill it, and then I clean it. But the food bowl, which is a slow feeder, is a pain in the butt to clean. So I just like, yeah. And then I'll look at it and be like, oh, that's disgusting.
I know. When's the last time I cleaned that? But if I'm sending Ziggy off to like... to get watched, I'm like, oh, I gotta clean this.
Yeah. Or I bring out the other one I have in the cabinet, and I'm like, yeah, I mean, it's brand new. I don't want to send them with a gross, that's nasty. But anyways, raw feeders will tell you they love it, but they secretly hate the cleanup.
Not even the cleanup, but like the prep. Mm-hmm. So I've done like some foods with Ziggy where it's like in the freezer, but you forget to take it out, to thaw it out. It's like... it's a whole process. It's a whole, not mindset, but it's just a different process.
Different world. I was actually talking to my trainer about this yesterday, and she was like, I really think you should get Gemini on raw food. Like, she's young enough that it won't affect them, I guess, if you do it later. Like, I haven't asked my vet or anything about their advice, but I'm like, I want to, but that sounds like a pain, and then I just don't know enough about it, so...
I don't even have the lifestyle to do it
definitely.
either. Being on the go.
Like that dog that brought over the
oh, yes.
cooked noodles.
I watched a dog once that had like pasta and homemade meals that she brought and had to refrigerate. And
I'm just like, here's a bag of kibble, like good kibble, in my opinion.
Yep. If you've ever left poop behind because you forgot a bag, you're lying and lazy.
Well, I'm guilty of this one. So
Same.
I don't disagree with it. I do think you're lazy, and I'll call myself lazy. I haven't like purposely left poop. Yeah. Like I've purposely left poop. I thought it said poop bag. Like I haven't purposely left a poop bag behind.
Oh yeah, those are awful.
Yeah.
When you see like on the trails or out and about and you just see like poop bags like on the like I will never do that. I will always go like find a trash.
Well, I
to
care
throw
about
it
the
away.
environment, yeah.
Yeah. But I've been in those moments where I don't have a bag or I forgot the bag like upstairs.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I look around. There's been times I've like grabbed a leaf and like tried shoving it and throwing it in like the bushes or something.
Yeah.
But there are times where I'm like, I don't have anything and I feel really bad and I'm looking around. Oh, it's the worst if there's like people around.
Yeah.
I don't know how like some people, they just like don't care at all. Like I've seen, they're walking and their dog poops and then they move on and they're not phased at all.
Well, if they have a dog, though, I'll be like, do you have a poop bag? Mm-hmm. But if they don't have a dog, I'm not going to assume they have a poop bag. And so I'm like, I'm sorry. I just like can't.
It's a panic moment.
But even at the beach the other day, that's always a panic moment when they poop like near the water. And because you don't know when the tide's going to come in. And I like sprinted back and I was like, I don't know if I'm going to make it back. And then these people are going to think like, I was like, anybody have a bag? Like, I was trying to make it known that I wasn't trying to leave poop. I'm like, I'm trying to get back. And then the poop got carried away by the waves.
Oh, my gosh.
So, don't go swimming in that water.
Ew. I mean, I'm sure there's tons of stuff.
Oh, yeah. I mean, animals poop in the water. Fish poop. So,
yes.
Anyways.
People poop in the water.
You know, that is true.
You should be grooming and bathing your dog on a weekly basis.
Disagree.
Yeah, disagree.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Here's a hot take. I won't. Sometimes I will just like after the beach, like not give him a bath.
Well, I mean, I don't blame you in that situation. I've done it too with Ziggy, but she also doesn't go into the water and get super dirty.
But they like clean off.
They do. And they shake and like clean themselves.
But then I let them sleep in my bed under the covers.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's criminal, but having
no
all this
sand.
No. Yes. There's no way you're not feeling sand particles in your bed.
Going to the dog park is 20% for the dog and 80% to convince yourself you're doing enough for your dog.
I mean, I think dog parks have a lot of hot takes in general around them.
Yeah.
But I'm sure it's just a place to socialize, show that you're taking your dog out. I don't know.
I don't think it's 20% 80 because if I didn't say the word and they got excited, like they're not now for some reason, which is weird. I think they're just tired. But they like get so excited when I say park, usually.
Yeah, I think it's definitely more doing it for your dog.
Yeah.
Than
I don't want to go to the
doing
park.
it for the person. Yeah, no, it's a whole deal.
Does anybody else set a timer for the
What? A timer for what?
the park?
Like going to the park? You set a timer?
Like when I get to the park, I set an hour timer.
Oh, funny.
And when it goes off, I'm like, okay, I can go home.
Well, I also have a dog that like will check out and she will want to say hi to people more than the dogs.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, okay, it's time to go.
I always bring her when she stays over because our dogs love, I think with us, they love to fetch like with a launcher and it goes so far that like in our backyard, we throw it over the fence. So that's our opportunity to throw it far and to get them to run. And they're so tired afterwards. I'm like, need them to get energy out. So.
Well, it's also a great space to bring your dog because it's safe with the fence and the border.
Mm-hmm. Well, if it is, yeah.
Right. There are dog parks and places that don't have fences as well.
Or there's scary dogs and then you don't want to be in the park.
True.
So, I mean, I've left parks when I've seen dogs and I'm just like, they could be nice for all I know. But I'm like, not feeling it.
Yeah, not today.
Not feeling the vibe. Not feeling another vet bill. I'm good.
Yeah, turn it around. That's what I love with like Ziggy's parties or like events. Like we rent out a pen, like a dog pen.
Yeah.
There's like the city you can rent out just for, your group. And I was like, this is amazing.
And then you don't have to like
You
worry
trust all
about
those
it.
people.
Yeah. People taking the dog, like, oh my God, that'd be horrible. Another hot take. Your dog doesn't need new toys. They have enough.
I'm always wanting to buy new toys, especially if you go to Home Goods or TJ Maxx. I feel like I never leave with,
Yeah.
there not being a toy in my cart.
Yeah, I can't walk into that store without buying a toy. And they're on sale. Mm-hmm. It's free. I'm losing money if I drive there and don't buy a toy.
Exactly. I have a whole, big bag in our closet of toys that still have, the tags on them. Either we've gotten them from events or birthday parties. And I'll, if it's a special, I don't know, a random day out of the week. And I'm like, Ziggy, do you want a new toy? Yeah. And you just see, the joy and the excitement. And then you give it to her. And
yeah, I
will always give her a new toy. Next hot take. Dog expenses should count as dependents on taxes. I saw something about something coming.
Yeah, I agree with that one.
Being able to claim your dog's expenses. I think something is coming.
Yeah, somebody was telling me that if your dog performs something or does something which I think social media accounts maybe.
Oh yeah, 100%. Those influencers that are getting brand deals, those are taxes. I mean, we've done it with Ziggy. But it's...
No, but I mean, even that is, they're doing something that generates some income, so then...
There are expenses. It's almost like your own business.
Yeah.
That's how it's, classified and how you'll do, all your taxes.
And I think even, them racing, they get fame. I don't know, but who knows?
I also saw something about... I can't remember what state it is, but there is... a group working on legislation of making dogs family members, legit family members of your family.
See, I agree with it, but I actually had this debate with my husband. He's like, no, I don't think so. Then people just get a bunch of dogs and then false register, and then we're paying. They're not contributors to society, essentially was his point. And I was like, I don't care. I want them.
Right. Yeah, that's right. That's the hot take. It's absolutely.
Yeah. Last hot take. Your dog doesn't need 3 jackets or shirts or dresses, but it's not your fault they look cute in them.
I mean, I have a whole closet of stuff.
Yeah.
With clothes, jerseys, shirts, bandanas. You do too.
Yeah, I do.
But I have done waves of cleaning out the closets to
cleaning out my closet.
Downsize. Because that is necessary. Because, yes, you can accumulate.
But do I think they need them? No, I agree with that they don't need them. But there are small dogs. My mom has a, what's that, little tiny multi-poo or something. And it's 4 pounds or maybe 5 now. But it gets cold. The dog's shaking. And I'm like, okay, this dog needs a jacket. But...
there's a time and a place.
Yeah. When we go camping, too, if it's cold, we'll put a puffer on them and keep them warm. But Gemini doesn't really like clothes, so I don't really force them on her. But a hat? Oh, yeah. They're wearing that hat. Just for a little bit.
Yes, and I have bandanas of, every holiday
yeah.
to put on Ziggy.
Yeah, we used to have so many, oh, man.
So many.
I still have so many, and I'm like, what do I do with these?
Well, the thing I sent you today on Instagram that I saw, it was that swap.
Yeah, a
market.
clothing swap, but for dogs.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, I think that event is genius. They host a space. You can pay a little fee to have your own table set up, and you bring up all the old clothes, items, whatever it is, and it's a swap market, and you can buy and sell and trade.
I mean, there's even so many, back to the toys, things that we've been maybe gifted or just got at parties, which is another hot take. But, they're brand new. I just don't want to give them to my dog because I know they'll eat it or whatever. But maybe another dog would like it. So
very true.
I think we should do that.
Yeah. Well, great little segment on hot takes.
Well, it's fun.
I think those are always fun to go through.
Yeah.
So let us know what your hot takes are in the Yap It Out forum, which you can find in our link in bio on Instagram. And we will share those, and we'll do some polls definitely on social media on our Instagram stories, because love to see what people think.
If you have any other chores that we didn't talk about today, or fun stories, or reasons why you got your dog and love your dog, I mean, we'd love to hear it all. So like Jess said, put it in the Yap It Out forum and we'll share it.
Share this episode with a fellow dog parent, especially those that are going through the trenches of all the chores, through the puppy, adult, senior life phases, whatever it is. We're here for you. You're not alone. Everyone goes through it.
Make sure to follow us on TikTok, on Instagram at the Yap Corner Pod.
You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, or wherever you listen to your podcast. That's all
for today.
That's all we got.
Yep.
Thanks
for yapping.